Welcome back to County Board Wrap Up, our deeper dive into the issues from this month's County Board meeting, as well as the other hot topics facing the board. Now, before we get to some of the other board meeting actions, we wanted to check in on the pandemic and specifically the COVID vaccine rollout here in Arlington. Now, Arlington has entered phase 2 of eligibility, as has the rest of Virginia, which means anyone 16 and up who wants a vaccine is eligible to receive one. Matt, let's start with you. Can you give us a status update as to where we are with that vaccine rollout here in Arlington?
Sure, happy to. We have been continuing to invest in our COVID response. We talked a little bit about the budget. Well, the budget reflects our work, and some numbers for you. Our test positivity rate is about 3%. Which is well below the 5% that is concerning to our Director of Public Health and experts across the state and the nation. We have been seeing many days over the last 7 where we have had less than 20 cases. These are great steps, but we're not done. We have over 40% of Arlingtonians, significantly over 40% of Arlingtonians, have been vaccinated with 1 dose. And there's more to do on that, but the vaccines are coming. But we should remember that this disease is still can be deadly, and we have to take it very seriously and continue to wear a mask and social distance, because we went 2 weeks without any fatalities, and then just yesterday we had 1. And in Arlington, we want to make sure we keep everybody healthy, and so that's like a status update. We're making progress, but we're not there yet. One challenge that I think those who are watching will want to know is we've moved into phase 2. Everyone 16 and above is eligible. We have about 30,000 people on that list, and we sent out about 8,500 invitations late last week on this. And so we're working through phase 2, but there's more to do. We're also still helping those in phase 1A, 1B, and 1C with a priority. Once they register, we're getting to them quickly. So we hope that people will pre-register at Vaccinate Virginia. We know we have more to do, and we're all thinking about how we can make sure everyone gets vaccinated. And I know at this stage, we've started that process for Libby and I. Libby?
Yeah, sure. Now, I think, we are, because I think people sometimes do wonder, well, how's the board? And actually, we've been getting vaccinated just like everybody else. So I got to go first because I'm over 65. So I got my invitation, but I signed up on the Virginia site or the Arlington site, and then found out that I got shifted. And I was one of those people that made the same mistake of I registered then twice because it wasn't clear to me what I was supposed to do. But anyway, and had, mild reactions, but really very, very, very few. And Matt, I think you're vaccinated now, or at least, well on the way. And I think the point is everybody needs to get vaccinated. Please, if you're, eligible and there's not any, outstanding reason you shouldn't be, please get vaccinated. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for people. And in fact, I don't know, Matt, if you want to talk a little bit about the Arlington Free Clinic and the pop-ups that we're doing and all of the different ways we're trying to particularly target the most vulnerable. I thought one of the sort of strokes of genius was when the manager said, let's change our complete count committee for the census, which was trying to reach into all kinds of places where we, it's hard to reach folks with information that we send out, often because of languages or lack of technology or whatever. And we just morphed that to a complete vaccination committee, again, trying to get everybody vaccinated. And I think that's been a great effort.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different ways. There's working with neighborhood health. We provided vaccines in Green Valley through Macedonia Baptist Church by appointment. We also have a group of about 8 Latina leaders who has pre-registered over 2,000 people, some on the west end of Columbia Pike, where we have a greater concentration of poverty and a greater concentration of cases within the pandemic here in Arlington. So we're continuing to work on that, and Johnson & Johnson, that pause slowed us some, and we have this situation where Northern Virginia and Arlington, almost everyone wants the vaccine. but there are parts of the rest of the state that haven't had quite as quick an uptake. And so our supply is still not where we would love it to be, but people are seeing different ways. And if you go to this vaccine.virginia.gov, you will see that there is also Vaccine Finder, and as well as the works we are taking, the steps we are taking to equitably distribute the vaccine to those most in need and most at risk. So there's hope here. It's not as fast as we would like, but I've gotten just yesterday, got my second dose, did it in order, and not ahead of anything. So we want everybody to get vaccinated. And there's some great videos in Spanish, I believe Tagalog,
Amharic.
Yes, Amharic, and they're short, and those are available via our website, and we'll put those in this video for you to see. So yeah. Progress and more to come, Kara.
You know, and I might just add one thing before we move on, Matt, that and Kara, that we're not the only game in town, and we know that. So the federal government is distributing to pharmacies and to grocery stores, and people sometimes can go. I was talking to somebody yesterday, went down to DC because she found out there was something open. She's in the younger category. So we're not saying you have to get it from Arlington County. The vaccine you can get now is the best vaccine. Get it when you can get vaccinated. And that Vaccine Finder is really a good site to use. But we are doing our best, and I think we're doing pretty well. We're continuing to move forward. But everybody, just the real message is get vaccinated. Just Absolutely. Get vaccinated.
And one thing to keep in mind, and Libby, you just were touching on that, is people have more than one avenue in which to receive the vaccine. So definitely make sure you're pre-registered with that Vaccinate Virginia site. But then you can also take a look at Vaccine Finder and find the pharmacies or the other kind of pop-up locations that are offering those vaccines. And always the underlying message of the best vaccine is the one that's available to you, right? And Matt, this might be a question for you, and it's one I know we've seen a lot, is when can we expect? Do we have a timeline on when anyone who wants a vaccine here in Arlington will have one?
Well, it's a great question, not an easy one. Arlington residents, being Arlington residents, you may have gone to the New York Times, has a date when we would get to 70% nationally. I personally think that we're going to, it might take a month or month and a half for everyone to get that first dose in Arlington, but I think it could be shorter. Some of it depends on the pause with Johnson & Johnson. But I think give us a month, and that doesn't mean it's not really hard. I got an email just this morning from a resident who is eager to get that second dose. And we don't send the email invitation on the second dose until it's close to the time that's on your vaccine card when you get the first dose. So I'd say month and a half, but I'm trying to be conservative, frankly, not overpromise. We are working flat out, and Libby's right. There are many different ways to get a vaccine, but the county board, the county manager, and our public health leaders, all of us feel responsible to get you as many doses and get you vaccinated as soon as possible, because we know it makes a real difference.
Absolutely.
Some of those Vaccine Finder sites too, quick funny story, because someone said she was searching, thought she could get it one at Dulles Airport and was all set to go and looked, and I think there's apparently a Dulles Airport or something similarly named in Jakarta or somewhere in Asia. And then she got then she continued more, and they were going to offer her, she could get a vaccine that day in Islamabad. So just be careful when you go online and realize it's quite a large, apparently, depending on what site you're looking at. So, but we're getting there. And I think you're right, Matt, to caution and be a little bit, because so much of it is out of our control. When we get the vaccines, we put them in people's arms.